the slate clean, literally, and drop their kid off at his aunt and uncle's before running into the night. What was that all about? Who knows? Something with spiders. We later learned Peter's dad was a scientist at Oscorp and he worked with Dr. Connors, so it was probably something spider and genetic related. Hint hint. The start of Amazing Spider-Man 2 is when we see the parents' perspective, when they just die immediately. Man, it's a good thing they didn't bring Peter with them because they are really bad at going into hiding. In his very last moments, Peter's dad saves his project to Google Drive using his Sony laptop. So what was this whole kerfuffle all about? Why did Oscorp Flight 93 Spider-Man's parents? Well, you know those radioactive spiders? Peter's dad made those.
The human DNA that I implanted in the spiders.
Originally, he was working for Osborn to create spiders that might heal him. But then Osborn, being Osborn, wanted to sell the research to make bioweapons. Peter's dad said no and moved his drug lab to an abandoned subway car like the sheep in Zootopia. His dad got the last laugh, though, because he used his own DNA in the spider experiments. And without him, the experiments just end. Long story short, the build-up for this whole grand conspiracy is that only Peter could be Spider-Man.
Without me, without my bloodline, Oscorp can never replicate or continue my experiments.
Like, if anyone else got bit by the spider, they probably wouldn't have gotten powers. They would have just died. This is dumb, right? I'm sure this point has been repeated a lot, but this just undermines Spider-Man. Having him get his powers because his dad designed the mutant bug just brings in a dumb chosen one element. Spider-Man could only exist because Peter had the right genetic password, or else he would have died of cancer or something. Glad we wasted so much time on that. This is so funny. In a deleted scene, it's revealed that Peter's dad was actually alive. These movies had a lot of deleted scenes. Some that would have contributed a lot to the characters, and some that just break the plot even more. This is one of those scenes. At the end of the movie, after Peter is standing at the grave of old Gwendolyn, his dad just shows up. Like Truman's fake dad. He reveals that he was in hiding this whole time, and he tells Peter to get back on his feet, that he has the power to give great responsibility.
With great power comes great responsibility.
How the hell did he survive this? Did he use that parachute? Man, they were gonna say he used a parachute, weren't they? The first movie worked because they just let Peter learn his lesson through a character arc. You did it right the first time. Leave it with that. Don't have his dead dad come back to life hoping nerds will point at the screen because he said the funny line. If you're writing a Spider-Man movie, it's now your great responsibility to never use that line ever again. So first off, Rhino. Is Rhino even a villain in this? He's kind of just comedic relief, if you consider vehicular manslaughter hilarious. It's so funny thinking about this scene for more than 5 seconds. Like, Spidey has all the time in the world to stop this man. He notices the truck barreling towards oncoming traffic, and he just swings away. At least 5 people are horrifically injured or killed because Spider-Man wanted to be silly. Amazing. The villains of Amazing Spider-Man 2 sucks so much, man. I can really be said for both of these movies, but the villains here are a downgrade across the board. He's the worst villain in the Raimi movies. You know, Venom at least had a better motivation for being Peter Parker than Blake. wants to save him in a very harsh way, so Harry would hate him forever. And the blood had no benefit to Harry because we keep the Green Goblin. But why? Why do we need the Green Goblin back? They brought the Green Goblin back because in the comics, that's how Gwen died. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is like a reverse Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man's a pretty good movie until the finale, where everything just falls apart. Things just end on a very flat note. Harry's death felt very Halo 3, like this is the end, we gotta kill people off for the stakes. Hell, Harry forgives Peter in the dumbest way. His butler just goes right up to him and says, "Oh yeah, Spider-Man didn't kill Norman Osborn."
The blade that pierced his body came from his client.
And Harry's like, "Oh, okay." The butler kept this critical piece of information to himself for no reason. He tells Harry this so he can go off and fight in a battle where he might die, and then he dies. Did you just want to kill Harry off? Man, I'm going on a tangent. My point is that Spider-Man 3 set up a lot of good things, and then it just unraveled at the end. In my opinion, Amazing Spider-Man 2 kind of did the opposite, where the movie was absolutely ass for most of the runtime, but then at the end, it just locks in. Yeah, I like the ending of Amazing Spider-Man 2. Despite how it sounds on paper, having the city lose power is an interesting problem. I like the way Peter and Gwen defeat Electro too. With science, it shows how these two are very smart in how they save the city, and also how they're very stupid for staying together. That's the only real theme of the movie in a way. The movie keeps showing us that this is a bad idea the entire time. Peter keeps having those visions, and despite doing everything he can, it doesn't matter. Gwen dies. Now, one of the main reasons they wanted to do a reboot was to keep Peter in high school, and then they just undermined that by having him graduate anyway. That was pretty stupid, but I get why they did it, and it was all for Gwen's speech. That's it. Just so Gwen could be the inspiration Peter had to be Spider-Man again after she died. I like this ending because it just leaves it up to your imagination what comes next, even if that wasn't the intention at all. This was not supposed to be open-ended. This was supposed to hype the audience up for a series of movies that just never came. But because that didn't happen, it made this movie hit a bit harder. That's why I have a fourth reason for why some people like Amazing Spider-Man 2. It ended. The best thing that ever happened to the Andrew Garfield movies was that there wasn't another one. Because if there was, Sony would have made everything worse.
Hi, excuse me, miss, hello. What if I told you I could get you some money right now?
I wouldn't believe you.
Okay, let's get out your phone, download the app called Bridget. All right, they're gonna give you up to $250 in under 2 minutes with no credit check or interest.
Oh my gosh, I got it. Hi, my name's Cassandra, and Bridget just showed me the money.
Nowadays you hear people say that they wish there would have been an Amazing Spider-Man 3. Man, if only they had stuck with Andrew Garfield and done a third movie. That would have been so great. Yeah, Sony was so incompetent that the next movie wasn't even going to be Amazing Spider-Man 3. It was going to be the Sinister Six. They wanted their own cinematic universe. It would have been beautiful for all the wrong reasons. Man, this movie was already littered with so many little Easter eggs and tidbits that were meant to be expanded on later. What's your name?
Felicia.
Hell, Norman Osborn was going to come back to life. They cryo-freezed his head like Walt Disney. MJ was filmed, but those scenes were entirely cut. There are videos out there about the plans Sony had, so I'm not going to get into all of that. But I am going to say that if they had gone through with any of it, nobody would look back on this movie fondly. And this is what I've thought about. Even if these movies were good, I don't think Marvel fans of the early 2010s would have even cared. Online nerds would constantly whine and complain that Sony just keeps hogging Spider-Man. If you're too young to remember the internet of 2014, this might shock you, but there was a time when one of the biggest complaints people had against these movies was that they were not connected to the MCU. Oh, man, the past is truly a different country. Sony was trying to hold on to Spider-Man as much as possible. That's true. But this was an unwinnable battle. The more they would have clung onto Spider-Man, the more people would have rejected it. So what does this all mean? This is a bad movie with good parts. And those good parts stand out nowadays because of what the MCU has become. That really just means it has good CGI and characters that aren't constantly quipping. Andrew Garfield's appreciated as Spider-Man today, but that's only because his time ended too soon. And the thing is, no studio could ever make a better Amazing Spider-Man 3 than the one the fans have conjured up in their minds, especially if that studio was Sony. Which is why I call this movie Sony's greatest failure, because it is. It's the movie that, whether they wanted to or not, made them give up Spider-Man. What's funny, though, is that for the last decade, they've still tried to have that Sinister Six movie. They've been crafting a universe of their own without Spider-Man, movie after movie, that just kind of continued to hurt their reputation, like Morbius, Madam Web, and who could forget Craven. And it's all because one movie underperformed in 2014.
That's a question. That's a question. I started this business in the closet of my mom's house. Now we've been able to grow into over 500 retailers. I've been on Shopify since the very beginning. There's a bunch of amazing templates that you can choose from. If I needed to go in there and add a logo, add a little bit of text, Shopify makes it really easy to do that. I don't think I'll ever outgrow Shopify. Definitely helped me take my business to the next level. I'm Jack Joseph, founder of Remember Kombucha.
7-Eleven. Rewards and shopping. Get it today.
Imagine if you took a time machine back to 2010. Just imagine that time. What would be two things that'd be inescapable? Crippling debt doesn't count. I know what I'd say, at least when it came to movies. Sam Worthington and 3D. For a good 2 years or so at the start of that decade, 3D was everywhere. 3D was the future, they said, and nobody believed them because they were wrong. 3D movies, 3D TV, 3DS. Man, Nintendo was really gaslit into that one. 3D was everywhere, and then one day, it was gone. Sam Worthington, he was everywhere. He was in Terminator. He was Alex Mason. Then one day, he was gone. 3D and Sam Worthington. Like the gods themselves, one day the people just stopped mentioning their names, and they drifted off into the abyss. What do these two things have in common? What movie came out around this time that might have spurred the popularity of 3D and Sam Worthington? Oh, that's right. Clash of the Titans. Oh boy, the gods are pissed, and it's up to Jake Sully to stop them. Will we have what it takes to defeat Lord Voldemort in the name of Awa? Will the least Greek man ever to exist save the Hellenic world? Only way to find out is when you play Clash of the Titans, available now for Xbox Arcade. Speaking of which, I love video game movies. Oh no, not video game movies, like those based on a video game. We don't talk about those. I mean video game movies. Movies that have the exact vibe of a video game, preferably from the seventh generation. You might as well be watching a cutscene for 2 hours straight. There are entire lists on Letterboxd specifically to document this phenomenon. To me, this is the term of endearment, a term of a simpler time. A time when movies looked like QuickTime events, and we all went along with it. Clash of the Titans is one of my favorite examples of an Xbox 360 game movie. It has the generic white guy protagonist with the buzzed head, a series of levels and bosses to defeat, some level side NPCs, a lot of mobs, and who could forget the Miss Filter, praise me the Miss Filter. All of those qualities ended up really helping Clash of the Titans when it came out. It got a full 27% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, and an even more damning 40% from audiences. And those people like anything. Am I saying the general audience is stupid and dumb? Yes. Yes, I am. I am also part of the general audience on those occasional days I choose to leave my bedroom. Sometimes I am complicit. You see, I spend most of my time reading the classics, the great myths of our age, Hercules, VHS and Disney Blu-ray, The Odyssey, trailer on YouTube, and my personal favorite, The Legend of Perseus. Better way to learn about the legend of Perseus than by going to the source of the myth, the original Clash of the Titans from 1981. That doesn't sound right.
It's do you know your developers have installed?
Some things are worth protecting. Your devices are also. Learn more at the internet website, linking.dev/FBL.
Alright, Gio, you want to build this way? So, I never seen these things. It's been a big gap. Look at this. I never seen a really healthy guy that looks bigger. It's just what it feels like. My friend told me about it. Skills is now offering the Lagoon.
An affordable GLP-1 that's FDA approved for weight loss. You can get started for just $39 a month with an active fixed coach. You take an online assessment and connect with a licensed Are you ready to see progress? Take the online consultation to get started.
Clash of the Titans is technically a remake. That was news to me. Like many others, I saw this movie once, forgot about it, and then it just pops back into my head from time to time. Like all the other intrusive thoughts. A few years ago, I found out that there was an original Clash of the Titans from the 80s, and I thought, oh, okay, that information wasn't really relevant to my life until this video. So yeah, there was an original Clash of the Titans from 1981. It's just a fascinating movie to me, because this does not look like it came out in 1981. This thing came out in the same year as Raiders of the Lost Ark, Escape from New York, and Going Ape. Going Ape. When 8-year-old Max Sabatini dies, he leaves his 3 prized orangutans in the care of his only son, Foster. To inherit his father's $5 million fortune, Foster must take care of the apes for the next 5 years. What the fuck is this? Is that Danny DeVito? Clash of the Titans was a blockbuster that looked dated even for the time. There are a few things against it, like this and Blade Runner are only a year apart. For one, movies hadn't been a thing since the 60s. Hollywood was still rebuilding in the 70s, so big budget epics were a thing of the past. 2, well, the special effects. Before CGI, there were practical effects like puppets and animatronics and a guy in a suit. But what if the creature required something? What if having a dumb puppet just wasn't going to do it? Introducing Ray Harryhausen. Ray Harryhausen is a legend of animation, stop-motion animation. Before CGI, before Jim Henson puppets, there was only one way to truly capture the uncapturable, and it was to animate it by hand, like Wallace and Gromit. Stop-motion animation for creatures had been a thing since King Kong, but Ray Harryhausen perfected it. For a time in Hollywood, there was no ILM, There was no meta. There was this man. Not even a team. It was literally just like this guy. This one guy. He was a master of compositing miniatures onto real footage. Even to this day, these shots are so impressive to me. Like take Jason and the Argonauts as an example. The timing of these sword fights, the presence of this giant, it's just all so... All these creatures have that jitter of stop motion, reminding you this is an effect, but at the same time, these are real physical props with actual lighting, not a computer model. So, in a weird sort of way, it feels more real. It's an impressive style, but it's still a dated style. Like, this came out 20 years before Clash of the Titans. Can you even really tell? Imagine a movie coming out today that looked like it was from 2005. Okay, that probably isn't that great to imagine. General critic consensus at the time was just mad. Like, it was enjoyable, but it felt old. Standard sword and sandals flight that had been done to death a decade earlier. But you know who it wasn't made for? Kids. Kids never saw this shit in their life. So hey, think of this like that bad movie you really liked as a kid, when your parents thought it was tired or cliche. Now, I never watched this as a kid, I just watched this recently, and I like it. It's very dreamlike. One man's dated in 1981 becomes another man's dated, but that's what I like about it in 2025. Clash of the Titans is an adaptation of the Perseus myth, aka the guy who slayed Medusa. He also did a whole lot of other things. And frankly, if you want to even slightly understand both of these movies, I really need to explain this one. So, Greek mythology time. Crash of the Titans begins with a mother and her child being forced into a coffin and dumped into the sea. Crash, you wacky bandicoot. You see, King Acrisius of the city Argos was foretold by the oracles that his grandson would be this unfaithful. So, to protect his own life, he sacrificed his daughters. Not by killing her. Oh no, but by locking her in a tower, or like a cell, just anywhere away from the guy who could not grow. And luckily for Acrisius, Zeus. In the original myth, Zeus impregnates her with a literal golden shower, but in the Clash series, I guess he just does it the old-fashioned way. Despite Acrisius trying his best to Rapunzel his daughter, she gave birth to a boy, Perseus. As punishment for all that, Acrisius, well, lost his marbles a bit. And as punishment for that, Zeus destroyed Argos. So, despite floating in a coffin,
Hardcore domination.
actually
Capture the objective. Be advised, hostile 2077 Be advised, hostile hostile care package inbound.
As punishment for allowing three deformed Calibos turned him into a monster. Calibos was originally meant to marry a princess Andromeda, Jarma, and now that's not going to happen. Andromeda's now better, but she also is kind of cursed, and nobody can marry her unless they answer a riddle. Luckily, Perseus knows the answer. After getting a bunch of godly goodies from his own
UAV
wants to find the last horse of Zeus's herd.
Securing drug. Be advised, hostile strike inbound. Securing drug. Timeline is in jeopardy.
It's crisis. Burlington. Deals, brands.
Securing A. A lockdown.
For some reason, brags that her daughter is more beautiful than the literal patron goddess they have a statue of.
Friendly UAV inbound.
Yet this thing more beautiful than So, what if she got eaten by the Kraken? That would be kind of cool. Let's do that. And so the movie plot begins. Perseus has to figure out a way to defeat the Kraken. On his adventure, Perseus fights some wacky mobs, fights against Mars in a boss fight, and then uses her head to defeat the Kraken. And everyone is happy ever after. When it was really this Titans, but the just had so much going on, and on sweeping under the rug, like
That one hurt our reputation.
It's the traitor for Monkey Perseus. And the kingdom looks away and the star of the show here, though, isn't the special effects. It's the atmosphere and lighting itself. It's he's the best thing about this movie. Zeus doesn't need to send Perseus or Hell, right? She relies on him. Understandable. So she tells Hema and Maker of Festes to send Hema cannibal Hell instead, which is just hilarious because this was even in the original myth. They invented love, this movie alone. And I am sure glad they did because in the middle of the standard sword and sandals movie, there is this wacky sidekick that doesn't really do that much. He just beeps and moves. This is how the man channel. So yeah, that's National Titans. And middling performance at the box office. It kind of just faded away, overtaken by all the movies that people actually remember coming out in the 80s. So, it's well for the relevance he did to disappear. The original editor, Perseus, Harry Hamlin, did Perseus in God of
Hardcore domination. Capture the objective.
Yeah, after that, I don't really think anything else really came.
Securing Alpha.
That I can think of.
Securing Bravo. Securing B.
Hey, it's me, Chef Bobby.
Securing Bravo.
Hopefully you learn something along the way.
Be secure.
Speaking of kids, these things happen. We roll up the lunches. The way I want to do things.
So big, man. What the fuck?
Since you took the kids from Ireland divorce, I have no place to live. That's why the sponsor of today's video comes in. And, in fact,
Be advised, hostile UAV incoming. Enemy has Charlie.
Oh my god. Fucking camping bitchin', bro.
Friendly UAV inbound.
Keep watching me anyway. Right here, these options I got the protein selection. We got fajita spice shrimp and filet mignon, sour cream and chive.
That's fucking crazy.
Right now,
Losing A.
we can't legally enter the
Man, get the fuck out of here, bro.
The sky is really the
Hostile lightning strike inbound. Losing Alpha.
That's niggas gotta be cheating, bro. Like, there's no fucking way.
Enemy has Alpha. Losing B.
I'm Italian.
UAV inbound. Get that dickweed out of my sight.
That's the word to use. Like I said,
Losing B.
Oh man, this shit takes the fun out of shit, bro. Like,
Mediterranean blue. The
Securing A. Be
layers.
advised, hostile chopper inbound.
We're afraid to show a little color. The remains not like that. It's just much behind 2010 in the Israeli Eagles for the 2010 movie. It's bad process.
Lightning strike coordinates received inbound.
Mexico best filter. The actual worst attempt at we've seen, and of course, it's federal.
Come on, come on.
This movie was made, and I kind of love it for that. I mean,
This is crazy.
Losing Bravo. Any means, it's not. If you get a job, what you see is, and it doesn't say
More movies out online.
this generally, which is Sam credited himself.
Securing B. Hostile care package inbound. Be advised, hostile UAV incoming. Securing Bravo. Bravo locked down. Losing A.
Yeah, that's what I said. He's a trap. You thought I was going to make fun of him, but I won't. We are Sam Worthington appreciators around these
UAV inbound. Losing A.
What could possibly be the
Losing A.
Obviously,
Losing A.
Sam was in 3 major films.
Time's almost done.
That's who Cameron wanted originally.
Oh man.
Additions happened.
Securing C. Losing B. Losing A.
It's something. It's this guy. This guy is the
Enemy took A.
Jigsaw himself.
Losing Bravo.
Thank you.
Good job, squad.
Oh
Get
my
ready for the
god,
next
that's
round.
second round? No.
Term even came out. Sam was in Terminator Salvation. As a Terminator who didn't want to be a Terminator, he just wanted to be a Terminator. I wonder how he possibly got that.
Halftime.
When Avatar came out, where he played a guy.
I'm not doing it. I'm not fucking doing it. Niggas be cheating their ass off, bro.
Then he was in Clash of the Titans, where he played a guy who didn't want to be a half god. He just wanted to be a guy. Oh yeah, he was in Clash because
Hardcore headquarters.
that movie was huge.
Secure the objective.
Even being casted in that was a big
Be advised, hostiles have destroyed the headquarters.
out of nowhere. This guy's face was plastered everywhere. What the hell is going on? Is this a sign that this is some big conspiracy? This is gigs because of one audition. Good for him. Now we're from homelessness to being Alex Mason blasting JFK in the face. The reason I bring up this casting for like direction is because this whole movie can be summarized by just having future generic, badass, rough-speaking dummy. It's beautiful. It does not fit into this world at all. This is not a big
Advised, hostiles have captured the headquarters.
16.
Be advised, hostile UAV incoming.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. I get it. This was a purposeful creative decision on the film. As you see, Clash of the Titans is not meant to be a whimsical
We've
adventure.
lost the advantage.
This might
Hostile lightning strikes inbound.
be as an action. And the only way a movie from 2010 knew how. This is a Perseus who isn't just simply a hero. This
HQ captured.
Gotta
Be advised, hostile lightning strikes inbound. Friendly UAV inbound.
Oh, fucking.
With that scream, you know the scream. And I don't know if it's just down this
Hostile UAV above. Be advised, hostile lightning strikes inbound.
Titans. Yes, this is not Clash of the Titans. Literally no Titans.
Headquarters captured. Counter UAV above. Radar is down.
Like, wow, that thing is is Titanic. It's Snake Titan.
Fucking ridiculous. I hate this game. I hate this fucking game.
We're not gonna see all the time. Big things are clashing. It's a good name for your movie. It is not a good name for your movie when the subject matter is Greek mythology and there aren't actually titans. This is the name Titan is not a metaphor. It is a literal mythological thing. The Titans are the gods of the Olympians, like Kronos who devoured Zeus before the Xenomorph are not in this movie. Medusa isn't a Titan. The original calls the Kraken the Kraken isn't even a Titan. It's just the sea monster. Like, don't even try that movie. We all know you just wanted a name that sounded vaguely mythological and also cool. So you just worked backwards from there. Look, you gave me Boobo, so I'll forgive you for trying to pull one over on me. And also, I get it. Occasional titans just so better than something like the Legend of Perseus, or Perseus versus the Kraken, or Perseus Bloodline. And since there's a remake, I mean, it's not that movie's fault why it's named what it is. You know, if I was in charge, I would have given this movie a correct name. Something like, oh no, Zeus fucked up again.
Don't.
That's a kill.
I've captured the headquarters.
Fucking God, bro.
RCXD inbound. Hostile orbital VSAT online.
Charges in!
HQ secured. HQ located. Hellstorm missile inbound. Headquarters online.
It's like the green check. This happened. It's accurate.
Care package inbound. Hostile UAV above.
And the remake is just using guns. To make sure there's any guns, presence, and
Friendly counter UAV inbound. Be advised, hostiles have captured the headquarters.
There are squatters here.
We've lost the lead.
This is a big action movie, so the whole fate of Olympus has to be at stake. If Perseus doesn't turn the squid into a rock, then Zeus will explode. In this world, people just straight up hate the gods. The movie practically begins with toppling a statue of Zeus like he was Saddam Hussein.
Hostile orbital VSAT.
They're all like, yeah, fuck Zeus. Then some bad demons absolutely wreck them.
Friendly counter UAV inbound.
In the original, the city of Argos was cursed because Zeus got mad. They said she wasn't super pretty. Yet in the remake, there is no Thetis. So the writers need another reason for the city to be on Olympus' shit list. Hey, what if the city straight up declares war on the gods? Perfect, let's go with that. The running theme with this remake is that everything is needed. The Queen of Argos doesn't just put a goddess in a bad mood. Oh no, the king and queen need to celebrate as they desecrate
Headquarters captured.
and go on the god.
Be advised, hostile UAV incoming.
I don't know. I thought it took so.
Zeus is dead, and I. First off, why are they stupid? Remember to gather from the scene. It's not like humans stopped believing in the gods. Like one day they felt the idea of this to
We've taken
facilitate
control.
They know the gods are real. They just absolutely hate them.
The sun has not set in the ocean.
Enemy down! Itself. This destruction of a statue was meant to be a Pearl Harbor to the Olympians. Humans are the real gods now, until an actual god shows up and kills everybody.
Be advised, hostiles have destroyed the headquarters.
How did you think this was going to end? That's not even the insane part. The insane part is that this wasn't even the first time this happened. This must be a consistent thing because one generation ago, another king, King Acrisius, the one who did the whole daughter coffin thing, laid siege to Mount Olympus itself. This guy knew heaven was real, and he wanted to sack it. So, in the original myth, Zeus impregnates King Acrisius' daughter. He's like a ray of light that shines on him. In the original movie, Zeus just thought Acrisius' daughter was hot, and she knew he was Zeus, so they bang. In the remake, Zeus doesn't bang Acrisius' daughter, he bangs Acrisius' wife, as the ultimate f*** you. While the siege was still going on, Zeus turned into a bald eagle and appeared by Acrisius' wife. While in their bedroom, he disguised himself as Acrisius, and then once the real Acrisius showed up, he transformed back into Liam Neeson, saw this woman scream in horror, smiled, and flew out the window. In the remake, the only reason Zeus was able to have sex with this woman was because she thought that he was her husband.
Be advised, hostile Lone Star inbound. HQ captured.
Pretty sure that's a sex problem. That's how Perseus was conceived. Zeus was one of these little trickster. Violated wife and her bastard got child to the depths of the ocean is probably not the coolest move. Perseus wasn't the best guy at all. But also, what does that say about Zeus that two entirely unrelated kingdoms both hate him? Even the normal foot soldier is excited to destroy his statue. The only explanation I have is that he has just been making everyone's lives actively worse through his own incompetence, blatantly and loudly, like me in City Skylines. Olympus's ratings are in the toilet, and in the remake, that's a big deal, because the gods need the power of prayer to stay alive. Praying to a god fuels
Good fight,
If they stop praying, they have nothing. It's Coco. If people forget you, you fade away. Zeus is losing his audience and the algorithm turned against him. He needs new ideas. Hades, his entirely trustful brother, doesn't look suspicious at all, has a wonderful plan. Just kill them all. Kill everyone. And then they'll start praying to you again. That's a good idea, Hades. But, aren't you fueled by fear? A thing you told me in the actual scene of this movie. Will you just get stronger as I actively kill my followers? Yes, I will. So, not the biggest shock, but Zeus is an idiot. He trusts Hades to scare humans back into submission, which obviously was never Hades' real intention at all. Just look at him. Zeus even knows this actively helps Hades, and he still goes along with it. Like you're the head honcho. You should know your own lore. In a stunning twist at the end of the movie, Zeus gets betrayed, and the very fate of Olympus is now at stake. It's like Hercules, except not nearly as good. I'd mention the other gods, but like I said before, they do literally nothing. Like the Kraken, the sea monster, is controlled by Hades. Why the fuck is the beast from 20,000 Fathoms owned by Hades? The ocean is Poseidon's one thing. That's all he's got. And they took that away. He has absolutely nothing to do.
And remember, No progress.
Once again, in the original some dangerous. It could be defeated since then.
We pull forward.
Now, oh wait, if the Kraken is defeated, so is the Ox.
We've lost control.
Versus once again comes face to face with Hades, who once again takes another non-spawn. So there does not need us here. So
Taking the lead.
and juices the queen.
Kill denied.
And the original Andromeda has 11 first versus the safe. So
Threat down. Attack insert online.
UAV inbound. We've lost the advantage.
And some other distant area.
Kill confirmed.
So you can actually feel the stakes when Perseus
Attack insert online.
exactly like the original Perseus same time Princess
Friendly UAV inbound.
Perseus mind breaking. It's just nothing.
Waypoint in action.
Because now Perseus really cares. It's not just anything. It's revenge wants to kill Hades. So
Attack insert online.
this
Lightning strike orders received inbound.
if we remake this, it is more dramatic. The victory is that
Waypoint in action. Concussion out.
so it's Hades, and now the world is going to end, right? Hades getting stronger because everyone has prayed. Let's let something up.
Waypoint in action. Concussion out.
Friendly UAV inbound.
Shoots up to
Waypoint in action.
did such a swell job. He's all like,
Friendly counter UAV inbound.
Attack insert online.
Kill denied. Kill denied.
Target down.
Friendly UAV inbound. UAV on standby. Hunter-killer drone on standby. Care package on standby. Be advised, hostile UAV incoming. Friendly hunter-killer drone deployed. UAV inbound. Guardian ready to deploy.
Just find some better. Again, he has a football, so again, what he means, he's cheesy, right?
Friendly UAV inbound.
Just the mentality. Also something increase. Just looks that way to fight
Friendly lightning strike inbound.
It's edgy. Edgy. That classic white Pegasus is good. We need to introduce this.
Reload!
Scary.
Friendly care package inbound.
Game of Thrones.
Kill confirmed. Be advised, hostile UAV incoming.
Yes, the guy who basically made the
Friendly hunter-killer drone deployed.
There's just some aspects that remind me of,
Kill denied.
places here too. Yeah, Davos. Alongside the next and it's a no. Yeah, that's it too. He only said one line. He dies. Man, that's funny. Just everyone is in this movie. Maybe it's because
Be advised, hostile care package inbound.
Yes, it was a sequel. No, it is not. It was a decent PG-13 yeah, it's from
Kill denied. Hostile lightning strike inbound.
Hopefully next entry in this potential franchise, because it just doesn't feel like the next entry at all. It's so jarring between Clash and things just feel off.
Be advised, hostile UAV incoming.
And two, Flash is not nearly as good as Pacific.
Kill denied.
Despite their setting.
Hostile care package inbound.
And the character died out of this. The action is
Care package inbound. UAV inbound.
Which was directed by
Hostile UAV above. Be advised, hostile care package inbound. This is it, pick it up.
Battle of Los Angeles and that TNT movie,
Be advised, hostile care package inbound.
Its biggest issue is Pacific
UAV inbound.
There's one thing these two sequels share in common. It's suffering from the absence of Travis Major. So,
Check your timeline.
while also now writing the sequels.
Be advised, hostile UAV incoming. Hostile RCXD in your AO.
Reload!
2008.
that is gonna hurt the
I
bottom
want
line.
ads to double my army. No. Joshua has no ads.
Changing.
It's all about skill.
Your weakness is your blind hatred for your father.
This movie was doomed from the start. Doom is a good word to use here, because despite Doom being the main theme of the movie, the tone does not reflect that at all.
You go, Point, you're so scrawny. Let me see, what else have I dreamt of as I lay here in my cell?
The world is literally going to end. Kronos is gonna wake up and kill everybody. Olympus has literally fallen. And yet the tone is somehow more lighthearted than the first. Nothing here even feels connected to the first. Wrath feels like a reboot for a movie that only came out 2 years earlier. They recasted Andromeda. Why is she blonde? Why is Perseus Australian?
There's more to life than gods and titans.
The remake had it pretty easy, as they already had an older movie to use as a template. Wrath did not have that luck. This is an 100% original story. Oh no. Okay, so it has been more than a decade since the events of Clash, and the world is still suffering. At the end of Clash, Zeus thanked Perseus for saving his ass and flew away like everything was hunky-dory. Like, yeah, Zeus made some mistakes, but everything's going to end up okay. Things did not end up okay. Zeus declaring war on humanity, even for like 5 minutes, backfired on him horrendously. Everyone is now atheists who hate the gods. Like, they believe the gods are real, but they despise them so much now, because of all the war crimes, that everyone simply stopped praying to Olympus. So by the time of the second movie, most of the gods have just withered away and died.
It's a place where people come to worship the gods. At least they used to come.
Holy shit, man, how the fuck did you fumble this? While it just felt like Zeus and Hades were the only gods in Clash of the Titans, now they literally are. Well, at least Poseidon is here too. Oh, never mind. The last remaining god, other than Frank Drebin Jr. and Mr. Menu, is the God of War. Oh, it actually is the God of War? Okay. One thing I liked about the original Clash is that they had a lot of gods that weren't even popular. Like, who the hell is Thetis? It's like the remakes are afraid of having a big pantheon. So the gods are just like 3 guys. If I was writing this, I would have whipped out some Z-listers. Would have brought in Hecate, the goddess of ghosts. Speaking of ghosts, Perseus' wife is dead. Yeah, so at the end of Clash, Zeus brought Io, the exposition girl, back to life, right? As a reward for Perseus window-seeing his mistakes away. Well, now she's dead. It's so funny watching these back-to-back, because one movie ends with Perseus and his new wife all happy and shit, and the second begins with her just dead, off-screen. At least she died in a different movie, and not, like, in the end credits of her own movie. So that's good. Maybe the actress just didn't want to return, or maybe they needed a reason for Perseus to not be tied down. Who knows? He has to have that flirty banter with Queen Andromeda. Wait a second, that's not Andromeda.
You've obviously been in your own with Perseus.
In Clash, Andromeda was a brunette who was pretty passive. Like, really passive. Even more passive than the one from the 80s. She did nothing except almost get eaten by a giant squid. And, for some reason, they brought her back in the sequel, at least in name only, because Andromeda is just an entirely different character.
3 lines of defense. Agenor's men will hold the front line from the trenches.
She's blonde now, which, granted, is closer to the original. Why wasn't she just blonde in the first place? I don't know. But the most baffling change is she's now a battle queen. Like Xenon, warrior princess. She's bold and quippy and leads men into battle. And she's willing to get into danger. And she can, like, hold her own against Perseus. It's actually insane how much of a change this is. It's one of the things that makes me wonder if this was just meant to be a soft.
This shit is why.
Because how can the movie actually expect the audience to just accept that these are the same?
Why, bro?
These came out